George Santayana, who said that history is a pack of lies about events that never happened, written by people who were never there. So in that sense, I mean, how much of our history are we really to believe? And in some ways, I think Napoleon was spot on when he said, what is history but a fable that has been agreed upon? That version, which everyone or the vast majority seem to have agreed on, is history. So I think to a very great extent, in that sense, I think what people like Amish or me are doing is far more intellectually honest in some ways, because we are not claiming it to be the truth. The question is that is there a claim on truth by someone else? That is really the big question.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a weird thing with regards to like claiming all history as absolute truth.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to do that. It's like you could you could read I mean, because I'm reading about the emergency right now, it's like you could read 4 different books and have completely 4 different takes on that one event, which is decisively been said as one of the darkest this thing, and there could be people saying something completely contrary. So, and that this is an event which happened 45 years back. So you're going way further. That's crazy. And by the way, Ashwin, I just realized I just realized you have written a series which is the 13 steps to bloody good wealth and 13 steps to bloody good marks.
Yes.
And 13 steps to bloody good luck and 13 steps to bloody good health and 13 steps to bloody good parenting. So you have been caught in your lies and your deceit. That you're trying to mislead
the nation wants to know. Saurabh, the nation wants to know.
The nation wants to know. Why did you not mention this series?
There's 5 books. You have lied to us, and we demand an apology.
Absolutely. I must tell you, I'm feeling very ashamed of myself.
Yeah.
And so my sincerest apologies. This, by the way, never happens on 9 p.m. prime time, but partly it's also because of the fact that we only have 2 or 3 windows open and not 15. So, but the point being that the 13 step series was, even though it's called a series, but if you really think about it, each one is a completely different topic, whether it's luck, whether it's wealth, whether it's health or parenting, or and so on and so forth. So actually that 13 steps was basically just, you could say, an umbrella in order to encompass multiple subjects. So in that sense, even though it calls itself a series, but the stories aren't really linked, they're completely independent.
Are you going to write 13 books of those series, and the 13th one is going to be called 13 Ways to Write 13 Books? Is that?
Yeah, but by the way, for all the books in the 13 step series, I always use a partner, because obviously I cannot be a domain expert on various topics, whether it is health or wealth or, I have developed a document for them, which is known as 13 steps to writing a 13 steps book. And so that explains to them what they need to do in order to be able to get the first draft ready.
This is how you know you're a prolific writer, when you've written a book to tell people how to write the books.
Yeah,
which you are already writing. So this is like Anuj Panwar says, Amish and Ashwin are the reason I love reading. I believe that he has given rural India a voice and made it cool. What is his take on it? This is to Ashwin. They're asking this question. Amish, sorry, they're asking the question. How often do people keep getting you guys confused just because the first word is the? Okay, this is a random question. This is my own question. I know this has happened, and that's why I want to know. Has a journalist ever called either of you thinking you're the other person and asked you questions about the wrong book?
Oh, Amish, should I answer that?
Go ahead.
No, I just want to tell you a very interesting take. I mean, of course, in the middle of an interview, people will start calling me Amish. That's par for the course, sort of. That has happened a million times. But the other part of it, of course, is that I was at a bookshop in Jaipur at the airport, and this gentleman comes up to me and says, "Sir, I'm a real fan of yours." I said, "Oh, that's so nice." So he said, "Since we are at the bookstore, do you mind if I could, pick up a book and get it signed by you?" I said, "Sure." So he picked up a book and brought it over to me, and it was a Devdutt Patnaik book. So, because Devdutt and I look a little similar to some people, you know, in terms of our physique and all of that. Both wear glasses and what have you. So he brought the book over, and then he of course wanted a selfie, etc., with the book, which I went through, and then I even signed it on behalf of Devdutt Patnaik. So the point is, the listen, this happens to everyone. I find it if it's happening so often to me, then I doubt whether it could not be happening. And in fact, Devdutt said that it has happened to him also. So I don't.
But I had a journalist who, this is one of my favorite stories, and Rishabh Pant had started his career properly and in earnest. I had a journalist call me and be like, "Oh, I'm such a big fan." I'm like, "Thank you so much." She's like, "So how do you manage stand-up comedy and playing for the Indian cricket team?" And I'm like, "Wow, you really think I'm the same? Like I'm the most accomplished human being in India right now?" At the same time.